We loved having our camp in the inner circle. We were so proud of ourselves.
What's the inner circle?
Rods Road.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
No.
Yeah,
I know where
they were right
Jesus
in center
Christ.
camp.
Yeah,
Right there.
Right behind
And
the
such
cafe.
a beautiful dome.
That's right. Oh, God. Oh. So, yeah, I was introduced to Burning Man by these two guys who were tango dancers and blues dance. They were blues, tango, Lindy Hoppers. And they were both instructors in their own right. But one of them had a lot of money from places and a penchant for like sitting on the government like auction websites and just snatching up huge amounts of cool decommissioned military shit. So the first couple of years we had these
All right.
phenomenally huge expandable tents, like 25 feet tall. We had a giant, this was the ugly dome. Before we had the beautiful dome, we had the ugly dome.
I remember that one, too.
Yeah.
And
we blew it up with this giant air bladder. Did you see us use the expandable air bladder to lift that tent up?
Oh,
30
I
feet?
certainly didn't go in there at any point at all. Your partner dancing, that's scary.
But it was so pretty. It was so pretty.
I was doing a miserable job over at Center Camp. I didn't have time for other people's miserable jobs.
So the tent
Understand.
itself wasn't inflated. There was an inflatable
No.
erector for
So
the structure?
these giant, these giant military tents that were used in like Iraq and Afghanistan were what we ended up getting off of the decommissioned sites. And the largest one was like 100-foot long, 50-foot wide mess tent, right? And so that needed like a semi-truck sized air bladder that we inflated to fully fill and lift the ceiling before we staked it down. Most of the pop-ups now use the same type of technology, but this was like in 2009, 2010. So there weren't as many like expand out pop-up structures, but these were ginormous military pop-up tents. And yeah, in a high wind, they were very dangerous. Yeah.
Good thing we never have high winds at Burning.
Never, ever.
Bunch of ratchet straps will take care of that.
Eventually, we learned that, yes. But for a while, it was just bowlines on rebar. And that managed.
That'll get the job done.
It did, because the tents were designed so fucking well that they actually, once they were fully put up, they could withstand Burning Man winds, no problem.
Oh,
even
that's the thing.
100-mile-an-hour winds.
Once it's up.
Right?
And positioned correctly.
And fully staked. But, after the first major terrifying moment, we kept the same person in charge of running the team for the setup, and that worked out. As long as we had continuity and didn't lose anybody who knew what was going on. Which, of course, never happens at
Never.
Burning Man.
People never stop doing the project they've been working on.
Consistency. It's the
Burnout.
11th principle.
Oh, fuck me.
I'm D-Day.
I'm Beth.
I am Rex, and this is Accuracy Third.
Accuracy third. Accuracy third. Accuracy third.
Fuck yeah.
I was not expecting pom-poms.
Nope. Just came over me. Because of how much I enjoyed our conversation with Captain Grace. Kudos to you, Captain Grace. You did a great job of bringing us back on track every time we got derailed.
Oh, this is a real friendship podcast.
It's not. This one is very good and tight. Once the narrative starts, it will go all the way to the end, and we'll catch you on the other side for some thoughts during the outro. Captain Grace is the third of folks that have worked in Center Camp since we're starting the season, with a handful of folks who have worked on our team, putting together the Center Camp Central Canopy Plaza tent-tile area of delights and performance spaces and art and whatnot.
Tentile?
Yeah.
And then I liked
It's a tentile structure.
I liked it. It made me think of a big squid squatting over that center. It's tentile.
Become architects. The point is...
Wait, are you trying to say tensile?
Nope, tentile.
Tentile. I'm 100%.
Tensility holds up a tentile structure.
Tensility.
Tensegrity.
All of this is to say that Captain Grace doesn't really talk about her center camp experience, but she has it. So now you know that too. Now listen to her stories about the camp she used to run and the camp she used to run's final form.
And dance. Lots and lots about dance.
I learn about dance in this episode, Beth, and how dance is like at me.
I learned about dance, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about dance. So first and most important, are we Captain Grace on this episode?
We are Captain Grace on this episode.
Okay. I know this one is going to be a fairly tea-spilly. So let's get some background. Captain Grace.
Captain Grace.
Oh, Captain, my
at your
Captain.
service.
How did you first land in this cult of ours?
Oh, man. Okay, so people had been telling me since I was about 20 and working in a hospital in Sacramento that I would love Burning Man. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Random people that I had never met would come up to me and say, you should go to Burning Man. You would love Burning Man. You would fit in there. And naturally, as a person who feels like I don't fit in anywhere, that was very appealing. But it took me probably another 10 years before I landed in Burner World. And that was through partner dancing, the wide world of swing dancing, blues dancing, tango dancing.
Contra. Goddamn.
Fuck Contra.
Dancing.
I
Holy
know,
shit.
please.
Like,
God, those guys. Zydeco and Contra dancers are a special breed of weirdo. We don't like them.
Zydeco music is fine.
Great.
Contra dancing music is telling me what I'm supposed to do so quickly before my mind is able to react to do it. I'm going to not quite blame partner dancing adventures in partner dancing for the destruction of my marriage, but it did not help.
Yeah, we do that too.
And contra dancing isn't really partner dancing, right? Because that's more like square dancing where you're
correct
changing
in a line
calling it
all the
out.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Line
that wasn't
dancing and spin dancing and
That's not what we
do-si-do.
do.
No, that wasn't it.
That's not what we do.
That was at the place across the street from us.
Yeah, that's like
it-
5 rhythms.
Was
And
it Root Pile?
yes, they were doing a bunch of contra dancing in 5 rhythms. And they were into the bluegrass thing, so that worked out for them.
I'm comfortable blaming that entire category of Burning Man camps for 2% of my marriage falling apart.
So any camp
Partner
that,
dancing in general
that encourages
can be blamed for a marriage falling apart.
like dancing and touching at the same time.
Yeah. Intimacy building activities, socially de-stratifying activities, and places where you actually rub your whole body up against another person.
It's not socially de-stratifying because there's
Yes,
the
it
strata
is.
of people who do want to be doing the most structured dances possible and people who
So that's
would like to
tango.
dance.
And dance is unfortunately one of those tricky words that means a lot of different things that people feel very strongly about. But partnered vernacular dances in particular include American jazz dance, Buenos Aires tango, and like American swing.
Ballroom.
Where does bossa nova fit into this?
Is ballroom
bossa
not
nova-
vernacular? Is that
Ballroom is not a vernacular dance.
What is a vernacular dance?
Vernacular means a walking dance. Literally, these are advanced walking. You're in a slot with your partner. One person goes forward, the other person goes back, and they are not entirely structured.
Rex, you're going to
Whereas
have to
in
do
a
the rest of
waltz-
this interview by yourself. Just going to sit here and scowl.
Oh, but you found my special interest.
God.
D-Day, I'm like, this is my special interest. This is how I got into Burning Man.
Tell us more about vernacular structured dance, please.
Unstructured vernacular dance. They are... sorry, this is the thing, man. Like, we don't do points.
It's
There's
not my fault that I'm rolling my eyes.
Oh, it's not your fault. This is just how Americans respond to dance. This is, I shit you not, the thing that I fight against the most in the world is that people just are afraid of or find dancing completely foreign. I'm not, it varies from person to person as to what exactly their personal dilemma is with partner dancing, but it is widely either disdained or feared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can probably speak a little to that. I think it has to do with Henry Ford's Nazi square dance cult.
not wrong, but that's why we do our weird vernacular dances where you make it up according to the music.
Yeah, I think
there are no wrong steps.
American kids have been so traumatized by their first exposure to any sort of partnered dancing.
PE class.
Yeah, none of us want to relive that. That was a nightmare.
Oh, God. 6th grade PE class and 6th grade homecoming dances. They're the worst. So now at this point in my life, I'm a therapist in training. We're getting there. And the dynamics that people have in 6th grade with gendered relationships and roles absolutely come right out as soon as they're back on a dance floor. It's pretty amazing to watch the level of interpersonal vulnerability that occurs when you are asked to touch strangers and like breathe with them, but to music. It's a conversational dynamic, right? Where one person leads, the other person listens. One person presents an idea or a topic and the other person follows it down to some interesting juxtaposition, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of these types of dances, that they are unstructured, that you're allowed to explore whatever you want within the musical time signature, right? That's what makes it fun. So I got into the cult of partner dancing first.
How did that happen? How did you fall into that?
Real. I was deeply suicidally depressed in like 14 to 16 age, right?
I also lived in Sacramento.
Yeah, I was in Davis, but yes.
Ooh, that's like a step down even.
But yeah, so my upbringing was like very non-conventional. So we didn't really have a lot of contemporary music in my household. It was fairly religious, Muslim, from like age 6 to 14. And fundy traditional Muslims don't really listen to music unless it's ecclesiastical. So we had like a lot of classical music and religious music. And I wasn't really welcome to listen to much else until my brother like gave me a Metallica cassette when I was 10 that I illicitly listened to. I know. Oh my God.
Which album?
What an entree.
Ride the Lightning.
Great.
Yep. So I was in like sad land, and a friend of mine was like a swing dancer, and I started listening to jazz at like 17. The boy that I had a crush on, he only dated other swing dancers and Lindy hoppers specifically.
As they do.
There's a hierarchy. It's weird. Like 6-count dances are for beginners and 8-count dances are for professionals. So yeah.
All right.
So Jitterbug and like East Coast swing are 6-count, and they're more like Glenn Miller Orchestra and those very traditionally big band kinds of stuff. And then when you get into 8 counts, that's when you can get into blues music and Lindy hop and really pick up the pace and get into the more gymnastic stuff or incredibly sensual counterbalance types. Yeah. Types of swing music. Or blango, tango and blues, or swango, swing and tango. Like, oh my God, over at Studio Gracia on Heron Street, round the corner from Mr. S. Leather, was the best blues dancing venue in the country for like 6 years.
Oh yeah, now that's a startup.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. It's gutted now. There's contra dancing there.
Oh. Well, nobody's going to fund the second round of that.
But
it's a contra dancing app. You don't need a caller. Everybody.
Oh no!
Dance.
You get your partner through the app. Oh, that's perfect. You don't ever have to make eye contact or struggle to meet a new person or say hello ever again. Oh, joy! Hooray!
I'm just going to sit here and wince for the rest of the interview. Rex, take over. I'm out again.
Oh,
well,
no.
hold on. Let me bring you back in because you haven't heard the exciting news that the Contra Dance app is partnering with Tesla. Soon you'll be able to buy an Optimus robot to train with.
Not where I thought you were going with that, but I also forgot that guy in a suit is considered a robot.
And once they integrate
That's right,
with
guy,
Meta,
people in the suits,
then you won't even need a person in the suit because they'll put a bot in the suit for you.
Okay, so all of the old G dancers understand that you can practice with a shopping cart.
Yeah, I saw Simply Ballroom. I know.
That's right. That movie is so good. Oh my fucking God.
All you fucking people think so.
We're
Beth and I watched our way through all of his
goddamn
movies
ballroom cult
in the past
Baz Luhrmann?
18 months.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I was just like, but we're not watching that. I've had to watch that too many times.
Too many times. There can never be too many
I'm a theater
times.
kid. Like,
I know.
all of the
Me
fucking
too.
theater kids made me watch that.
All of the dancers are also theater kids.
And the problem really with Strictly Ballroom is that it got completely eclipsed by Swing Kids.
Which was the other big swing revival. That was in the 90s.
That was like Newsies, but with dance, right?
Oh my God. You're making call outs and shout outs for the like archetypal films that get people into swing dancing.
Uh-huh.
Those are the ones. Newsies and fucking Swing Kids. And it's the music of joy. Most importantly, that type of swung group jazz with horns and percussion and the piano, that is the music of joy.
I call it pork pie empowerment music.
What the fuck?
Pork pie hat.
Thank you. Got you. So music of joy, it counteracts despair. And so does interacting with other people and learning a new skill, achieving some mastery. It's a whole positive moving your body. It's a positive upward spiral for all things, which is why we found it so important to bring Partner Dance out to the playa. That was our gift. We were going to come out. We're a dance camp of dance instructors. And we would come out and build a floor and build a space so that people could have a ballroom experience and be taught with and paired with pro dancers and have like this transformative.
That was fucking early.
Damn it.
That
Didn't even need
That's
to prompt
barely
you for it.
15 minutes.
Please finish your thought. We need to get it on tape.
We don't need your chagrin for having a transformative experience
Fine.
at Burning Man. We all have.
It is a transformative experience to become a partner dancer. And people left that camp feeling like they were now welcomed into this elite, or at least snobby group of classist pricks that will invite them in no matter where they are around the world, as long as they can participate in the activity. That's the only barrier to entry is, are you willing to learn?
Sounds pretty elite to me.
So you got involved
for some people.
with this scene of partner dancers in Sacramento. Were you there for the founding of this camp?
I was 1 year behind.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for the second. My first year at Burning Man in 2010 was the second year for Tangoed Up in Blues, and I fell hook, line, and sinker. God, I loved it. I came out. They gave me no job for my first year.
Nice.
As one ought. So I just got to experience the place and do the things. And
Smart move.
yeah, and I fell in love with it. It was a double rainbow year. It was that rain year with the double rainbow on build day. Mm-hmm. And right from the beginning, I was in for build and strike. So
So you got the full dose right up front.
right up front, I have never been in ingress or exodus. Not once. In 10 years.
It's pretty cool.
I like it. So by my second year, I was the assistant lead directing the camp, both on playa and off. So
Oh wow, that's a big
I-
sophomore swing.
well, I had been organizing dances for probably 6 years at that point, doing workshops and like a weekly up in Seattle, 2-3 different weeklies. There was a time where I was organizing 3 different weekly dances at the same time for a period of approximately 3 months while also having a real job.
And a rich inner life.
Yeah, well, that I needed desperately to express with my body, not words. That's the other thing that really, really makes partner dancing compelling, is that it's a way to interact with people that is conversational in nature without needing to actually talk. God, I love that. You literally just make eye contact at somebody across the room. Like you do the swishy fingers and they nod or they say no. And then ta-da, you've got this sort of magical, playful, rhythmic, whole body interaction with somebody for the next 3 to 5 minutes.
Without having to negotiate like you're at a sex party.
Correct. Because it's not as
I
committal.
get it. No,
There's not as
like
many
for the
fluids.
first time ever, I get it.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
so
no,
glad.
I'm learning and growing right here in the shed.
So glad. That was really apparent to me early on, is that there's a high contingent of neurodivergent people inside partner dance, specifically in Lindy Hop. And there was a whole Lindy Hop to blues epoch evolution. Now it's blues into fusion. And it's Man.
For you or for the scene?
No, for the scene. The petty bullshit that goes on inside subcultures, the weird petty bullshit that makes the wheels of progress turn are just delightfully banal and human. It's so people are people are people are people.
Is there big aggressive judgment amongst the various styles? Do the blues dancers poo-poo the Lindy Hoppers?
Oh my goodness. So there's elitist blues dancers who are very, very particular about traditional types of movement and traditional types of dress. And then there's also the elitist Lindy Hoppers who are very much into the look and style of the 1940s retro hair, makeup, clothing, zoot suit sort of ensemble. And then
To call out fancy, I'm going to say fancy. For those of you who know fancy.
You got it. So there's some basic essentialism that they reduce the thing down to, where it's the look instead of the expertise with the activity and ability to dance with anybody.
Posers, we called them in the punk rock scene.
Posers, exactly. They're fucking posers. And there's always a contingent of them that is able to leverage that look into at least a functional supportive career, sustainable career of teaching other people how to be assholes.
Opening a barber shop.
So there's also the vein of dancers in that subcategory that are sort of MRA and who are also
So there's
misogynistic. There's Nazis in swing dancing. I'm sorry to break it to you.
some manosphere
With those
shit.
haircuts?
White supremacists inside of Lindy Hop.
It's, you know what? The problem is people who like to shine their fucking shoes is the problem.
Hey, I like boot blacking. Don't say that.
It's a different concept.
Do you like shining your shoes, though? Does it fulfill something in you that needs to be ordered?
Well, not only does my OCD really... So I was a surgical assistant when I was 19.
I like things that are glossy. That doesn't mean I like shining my shoes.
I like lining things up perfectly and having them... putting together a surgical...
I mean, if it's a mental illness and not fascism, then fine.
Yeah, okay. There you go. There you go. It's a fine line.
We're back on the same
sometime.
page.
Yeah, but
Good.
when you
Self-expression.
when you're talking about boot blacking, we absolutely need to flag that there are plenty of Nazis in the kink clubs too.
Yeah.
Oh.
What, leather play? Who? Oh. Why would there be any interest in torture scenes, SS scenes, police interrogation scenes, all as part of a well-recognized, ordered, and completely hierarchically enforced play structure? Yeah. Huh?
But this isn't a podcast about me having an uncomfortable boner. This is a podcast about Burning Man.
And dance.
And dance.
For this particular episode. Yeah.
Where uncomfortable boners are de rigueur.
Well, for everyone, right?
It's just that you're both staring at me.
But you like it, D-Day.
It's electric. It is.
I know. It's fabulous. I love it. And this is also the thing about partner dance is that we really enjoy edging. Oh my God. All of us are just living on milking every sexual, sensual impulse out of a dance without having it ever slip into
Licentiousness?
I was going to say fingering, but that's much
actual
longer word.
intimacy. Right? Right? It's getting to act out and fantasize your sexuality with and at another person, not necessarily.
Most people aren't ready for that for me in a
know.
casual situation.
Well, and this is why you need to come play on the ballroom floor. Come on. This is where we give ourselves
My
space.
dance card is full, but thank you.
Well, good to know you have a card.
It runneth over.
And yeah, the poly scene in the dance scene is also
Very theater kidsy.
hilarious. It's hilarious.
All right, so I get it.
Yeah, so I finally figured out that, like, as a therapist, my opinion is that largely the polyamory and dance scene are people who are struggling with attachment disorder of some kind, right? Either avoidant or disorganized or anxious.
You're disorganized and anxious.
That's correct. And you are too, D-Day.
I'm not anxious.
You. Oh.
I'm quite
just
disorganized, though. But my attachment is strong as fuck.
Well, and that's where it gets fun because it's a growth edge, right? All of these people are coming in to try to find some way to interact with the rest of the world in a way that feels expressively true and authentic to them and also fun and sexy. And so it's just There's no party like a dancer party. They're all pretty. They're all dramatic. They're all hilarious. Like, great set of people made for Burning Man. Yeah. So 3rd year, we had one of our founding members just got... If he had been... he would have been... Me Too'd was probably the appropriate
Sex
way.
creep.
Sex creep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The first time I met the guy, the first joke that he made to me as like a 50-something-year-old man was something about his favorite thing to hear from a bottom, aka a follow, was
Oof.
yeah. Mid-20s at that time. So, but this is the guy funding the pop-up tango out in the woods or on the mountaintops or at the lakeside or on the yacht. This was how he started and captured the attention of his Burning Man friends, was by throwing tango dance parties out in the middle of Napa, just pop-up dance floor. But anyhow, so our storage unit was outside of Eugene because also that is a place made of interesting techno Burning Man folk.
Techies.
Super techies, all hanging out. It's a college town. So our camp was being run solely by people who lived either in San Francisco or Seattle, but mainly because we all bounced back and forth between Seattle and San Francisco as just a chronic lifestyle choice, going from dance event to dance event, like the proverbial
Dancers you were.
You know,
It is a
bon
very
vivants.
integrated community.
We were bon vivants. We just go from party to party to party to party to party. Then organize for our friends to come teach at our party for the weekend. And then they get paid a couple $1,000s and then we can fund the next party. And when it's in the context of having some sort of philosophical desire to increase people's ability to express themselves, which was largely how a lot of the community was built, was as a bridge for people to come from hyper-tech world that had disassociated bodies and brains entirely and step into a more embodied, more experiential life. And that's how they make $100 an hour teaching classes, taking private lessons to a bunch of tech bros, and end up living in their like pool rooms for months and months. Oh my God, all the fucking dancers who I know who have camped out at somebody else's house for a year or more teaching them dance.
You mean pool rooms like a shed with a pool in it, not like a billiard room?
I mean, like a shed with a pool in it. You got it. Or mother-in-law?
So what you're saying is that the partner dance scene was sort of like a light side reflection, a slightly lighter side reflection of the jiu-jitsu scene.
Oh, and there's a lot of crossover with
yeah.
martial art. It's that fetishism in the BDSM. We just like being told what to do and exactly when to do it and how to do it and which direction and how fast and how much pressure. It's great. God, no decision making when you're a good follow. It's so
Focused, it sounds like.
very focused, but also non-left brain. It's just a completely right brain focus, right? It's like making art. You have to be listening and also receptive and willing to let your impulse be driven by another and still be inhabiting your body and holding your balance and creating the picture that they're trying to make with your body. As a follow, it's really fun.
Yeah.
You get to be
I don't
furniture
turn my
sometimes.
Left brain off.
You should try it sometime.
I'm pretty good at meditating. I guess I do it during that, but
Yeah.
I have
And a lot of us
I
are
have
kinetic.
stuff happening while stuff's happening.
Always, right? A lot of us are highly
Parallel processing.
parallel processor, cognitive bypassers, cerebral persons who live through our ability to think highly of ourselves and our ability to process information. Right? It's an easy trap to fall into.
Thank you.
Aw.
I noticed.
Well, you deserve to. You're a nice person. I think you get shit done well.
Pound that rock. You're a
Yeah.
nice person too, Rex. Pound that rock.
Aw,
Up
Rexy.
high.
You're loved.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
nice person.
fuck yeah.
He's out of this one.
Yeah, no,
We're cool.
the problem is I'm always trying to make Rex into someone he's not.
I mean, Rex just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the wonderful things about my entire friendship with Rex is that for 10 years, you've just been willing to observe and be cool.
I got to go with the flow.
True facts. But yeah, it's a fun kinetic meditation for a lot of people. The leader aspect of it is more demanding, I find, but everybody will tend to have a personal predilection for either lead or follow. And then as you develop that initial one, you get the Jones to learn the other side or not.
Right.
And that's how we find switches.
Yeah, I've been to those parties.
Yeah, they're fun. We used to throw a lot of them. That's kind of how the dance world works, is we're lovely and emotive and provocative and evocative, and we all just want to play with the music and not have very many consequences. So Burning Man Camp was built on that.
A place where consequences are unavoidable.
Unfortunately, they do tend to catch up with you. So this was 2012, our fourth year, and Wes is just such a creep. I don't even think he's in the States anymore. I think he's now taken over a small village in the Philippines and like married a girl 20 years younger than him and is supporting her village on his white knight fantasies.
God damn it. Like, that's so problematic. But that's more
so
than I'm doing for
cool.
the Philippines.
I know. This is my whole conflict with these dudes is they are so white knighty and so effective at actually completing an objective that it's hard to hate them even when you get hurt by their lack of consideration for consequences.
Yeah, you always have to remember that their motive is never truly altruistic. It's at best. Self-motivated altruism.
At best, it is tactical altruism. That's right. Like the sort of exploitative nature of these dudes really came out in the way that we chose camp members. There would always from the start, there were people who had sweat equity and there were people who had patron tickets.
Equity, that's called.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah, real equity.
venture capital equity. Yeah. But it made a lot of sense because we were an international dance camp and only so many people can be there in order to prep the shit and get stuff going and taken care of throughout the year when half of your camp is in Argentina or Russia or, teaching where tango is fun and big.
In Russia?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
They didn't do any tangos during the Great.
You were in the wrong parties, my friend.
He was in the wrong era. There was not much tangoing under Catherine.
Oh,
It hadn't really been invented yet.
Who
yeah.
even knows what you're talking about?
Yeah, this was when did tango develop?
Well past the 1600s, I imagine.
Probably like the 1700s, maybe
I think tango is a 20th century invention.
Yeah, I'm going to say you're right. But it was definitely big in Buenos Aires in like 1900. So pre-World War. Yeah, a lot of the mythos around tango is that it was generally a way for men to fight with one another over the available and beautiful women of the area who were in much smaller supply than the men. So traditionally, men learn tango by dancing with other men, their uncles, cousins, older. It's very aggressive. You're doing trips. You're doing kicks. It's very like slash fighty.
Well, there's no UFC this weekend. You want to dance a bit, Rex?
You can fight with your roosters with your heels. You just kick each other with your heels all the time.
I'm not sure my ankles are up for that, but thank you for thinking they are.
Yeah,
My hamstrings are loose.
That's not going to work. Yeah, more heels then. But so the way we chose camp members was based on their ability to participate in dance-related activities, not necessarily based on their ability to participate in camp-related activities. So a lot of the work fell to
The select few.
me and like 5 of my friends. And then we would always end up with these weird alcoholic or maybe cokehead dudes who were workhorses and who would go all night and carry all the things and pound all the steaks. And then we just left them to party for the rest of the week and then picked them up at the end of the event. They weren't dancers. They were just like friends of Wes or Ted and like had nothing to do with the community other than participate and build and break down.
Did they like live with you?
Yeah, they were in camp with us. They had space with us. They ate with us. Oh, I loved our camp structure, though. Like the way we formed a communal group around all of our meals, all of our dance preparation, all of our teaching, the music selection, expression, and how we were. It was just so warm and fuzzy while it was good, man. We would give like team appreciations for every meal. That was part of our routine, to sit down and everybody say something to somebody else in the group about a thing they noticed and appreciated about them during the build. And that just filled everyone's cup so well. This was Ted's magic power. His ability to bring together disparate people and make them feel included and like they were part of the group was Machiavellian. It was amazing to watch and inspiring to be part of. And 6 years later, I'm going, oh, fuck, I got screwed. But I learned a lot, so life. Yeah, but we were founded by these two kind of entitled users. Much as I was completely enthralled by Ted, and he noticed and got me to run his camp for him. That's how that worked, to run, build, and break down. And I adored it because I had a thing to do that I was good at, that people were recognizing that I was good at. Oh my God, can I get shit done? Yes, and hold the whole project in my head at one time and understand which pieces need to go in which order and which ones come before which. Like I had a mental inventory of all of the tents, all of the stakes, all of the kitchen equipment and tables and chairs and drapes and tennis balls and nets and tie downs and lights and all this stereo equipment that we had. Oh God. And the expensive speakers. God, it was such good sound out there. That was the other thing. We had excellent sound quality. We had beautiful dance halls, and it was magical. And under the magic was some exploitation and some dudes trying to like get theirs without any regard to like how that might impact the other people who were there long term.
Were they doing some harem building?
Some.
Were they doing anything aside from harem building?
Anything other than harem? No, they were doing BDSM rope classes and harem building. It's literally stringing together their harems.
But you can just buy that latex tape and then you don't have to learn anything really.
Yeah, like that.
That dude is so fucking gross. Like, I know what his hairline looks like.
Yes,
and the way he's
you
kind of
do.
fit but still has a paunch.
And
I hate his jeans. I hate his fucking jeans.
He doesn't have jeans.
Oh, yes, he does. When he's not at Burning Man, he's got jeans,
you're
and
right.
I hate them.
Ew. Oh,
yeah, I know his fucking jeans. You know those jeans.
I do.
Look, True Religion is a real brand.
And he was also evangelical. Hallelujah. So, vaguely exploitative dancer camps. Well, and this is part of Dancer World too, is like vaguely exploitative dance instructors who are constantly chicken hawking the dance floor, right? Whoever comes in who's brand new, who doesn't understand the rules yet, can be a new addition to his personal world. And I don't know how to get away from it. It's everywhere. That sort of interpersonal masculine feminine dynamic I see played out all over the place.
Well, I mean, we're not going to socialize our men in a different manner, so you're going to keep seeing that.
I know. And this is how I feel like partner dancing is, in fact, a useful thing because it does help socialize some of that awkwardness and some of that weirdness out. It does help
by
you interact.
cultivating chicken hawks.
Well, that's when it goes south.
Spoken like a Delta male, Rex.
Excuse me,
all
I'm
the
clearly
alpha dancers.
Epsilon.
Omega.
I don't read epsilon males. I'm a psi
You're not
male.
Greek? Oh,
I used to be a phi male, but not anymore.
well, I'm in school now getting my master's. So,
Time to go Greek.
I mean, they're sending
It's one
me
of those
things.
academic fraternities.
It's a social group. It's another way to network, which might be the only positive thing.
I don't know. Never helped
And
me
Burning
none.
Man.
I was in several.
Burning Man is good for networking. Dancing is good for networking.
There's a lot of shit that you can pad your resume with.
Yeah, but will it get you into cool parties?
I don't know how I get into cool parties or if I get into them.
I think it's because we throw them.
Yeah.
Yeah. center camp builder.
Make cool parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are cool parties.
That's how I survived. That's why I got out of dancer world and was eventually, welcomed into center camp. You guys saw that my camp was melting down, or Rex at least saw my camp melting down. Oh, yay.
I was told this person is competent. Give her a radio if she wants one.
Yay. Oh, thank goodness. But holy shit. Yeah, so 2013 was the last year that Wes was like participating in camp actively. And this is the year that he just decided that this was also the first year that we had the Eugene Dome. My Eugeneiuses. Oh, God. This was the crossover year. This is the year where we had a couple of the dirty military tents for our personal shade structures, but we were now using the beautiful LED light-up dome for our ballroom. And it was phenomenal because all the LEDs were programmed to like this Kinect device. So you could dance the light into a synesthetes.
Oh, an Xbox
adventure.
360 Kinect?
That's right. Yep, very achievable. But yeah, that was the year that we had actual fun Oregon Country Fair festy people infiltrate our camp.
Oh, that's a problem.
It wasn't bad because they were the Eugeneiuses. They had their own way of camping and doing things, but they wanted to do a tea house for us outside of our ballroom.
I actually did get tea there one night.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! Yeah. Actually, there were a lot of very serious tea drinkers who are immensely generous with their time and expertise. And
they're like wine folk.
Camellia sinensis. That's right. But it's all about the flavors. It's, again, that Epicurean sensualist essential piece of dancer culture is that we like things that are good. And we like lots of it.
I have to be less of a curmudgeon. There's lots of points of crossover here.
This is why we actually get along, if I'm quiet about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you recognize that. That's great. Well, I feel seen.
Yay. I know. You're one of my favorite humans out on Playa D-Day after having worked with, I know. Well, I mean,
I don't blame you or anything. I wasn't ready. So. Oh, right.
Yeah, I see you.
Man.
Yeah. I'm just looking for that strong, charismatic leader.
Oh.
So I can fall in and be a follower.
It is definitely both a skill and a deep detriment that I try to keep my thumb on because, God forbid,
you'd make a great social worker.
I get a real ego. I was a counselor for a long time. It's not a thing I can put down.
Interesting. There's so many points of contact and crossover here because, again, a lot of the people that survive in the dance scene that go on to continue dancing into their late 30s and 40s and are not just there to like be part of hookup culture or find a partner tend to become therapists or social workers. Generally, people who are just
using their awareness,
extravagantly committed to promoting awareness of subjective experience. Right? Awareness of interpersonal subjective experience and then the expression thereof.
Feels like a pretty aggressive opinion you've got there.
Oh my God, I have such aggressive hope. Aggressive hope and tactical altruism. This is what I bring to the world. But yeah, so Oregon Crunchy Fair folks who are the Eugeneiuses who had the light up dome, and then asshole tango misogynist man over on the other side who is quietly leering at them as the ladies are getting dressed and moving through the space, and the ladies and gentle thems who are of a completely different social mean, right? Very progressive, very accepting, very inclusive, and then coming up against 1950s fucking Americana misogyny. It was epic. The glares, all of the women that would stop talking as soon as he walked into the space. And like eventually his personality just got so abrasive that nobody would dance with him.
Ooh.
This fancy tango dancer who thought that he was the shit and the sexiest of sexiness could not get anyone to willingly dance with him in his own dance camp.
That feels like a unavoidable message.
Yeah, that was when he stopped showing up. And that was when I became the de facto head of camp, who tried to negotiate with him to get him to sell us the military tents because he was unwilling to gift them to us in any way, shape, or form. Because, what was it? Oh, that's right. It's in 2014. He tried to use his legacy status as part of camp to send a bunch of people to Burning Man who had never been there before, who had small children, who were dancers, but who were strangers to us and to me as de facto lead of camp and somebody who likes to have really loud sex on playa. And also like a number of other people who are very promiscuous and licentious in their Burning Man adventure. Didn't want to have a bunch of 8 and 9-year-olds running around camp with their mom who had never been to Burning Man before.
A camp which I assume had previously been just adults.
Yeah. The whole and like early 20s adults. Like generally just the prime slice.
It's a pretty funny way to blow up a camp, I gotta say. What a douchebag, but like fucking genius.
It was the social inflection point that crashed the whole fucking thing. That's right. He sent his bitches.
I would
with
just
her
send
kids.
to the whatever email list you guys had in all caps, just like boom, yoga moms, and then unsubscribe from group.
Yeah, I wish he had. Oh man, the back and forth that he had in our base camp, everything was fucking being recorded in base camp. And he tried to tear me a new one about like just being overly sexualized and turning us into a sex camp. And that was why I didn't want to babysit his lady friend and her children. And he was absolutely correct. I realize in retrospect that I did not want to babysit his party favor.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, all camps could be sex camps.
I mean, if
Except
you
for
want
Kidsville. Except for Kidsville.
That's
Except
right.
for Kidsville. Rex, say it out loud.
Yeah, but if you're a camp full of adults and you have an
there's pedos
understanding
out in
that
Burning
like
Man.
sex is happening in camp and everyone's comfortable with it,
That's
the person
fine.
bringing in the kids is the asshole. Let's be completely clear about this.
Thank you.
When the vibe is established, the vibe is the vibe.
The vibe was like sexy rope bondage after hours on Friday before our tango lessons. So, yeah, it was kind of set.
Like I'm assuming
I'm
this
convinced.
man had his dick out at some point.
Oh, I mean, not in front of us, but it was under the kilt.
Like behind
Yeah.
you.
Like,
Yeah, definitely.
oh, man. He had a predilection for tiny little Asian spinner tango dancers who he could pick up with one hand. He would hog tie them and then like carry one in each hand around
Man, that's
the
going to
dance
fuck
floor.
up your elbow.
He didn't give a fuck. Yeah. He was showing off and
I
like,
hope he cries at night.
I'm sure.
Hey, look, he's a dancer. Maybe he had good form. Farmer's carry is legit.
Damn it, Rex. Why you gotta humanize him again?
Why you always got to be saying things like farmer's carry?
Why you gotta be nice and realistic?
Core strength is
Go with
important.
the flow. See the good in everyone.
But also don't be an asshole.
Well, and that comes baked in sometimes when you want to lift up your friends while they're hogtied. I don't know. Chicken, egg. Do you become an asshole by lifting your friends up while they're hogtied?
No.
Okay.
No, not if it's consensual.
What if there's tape covering their mouth and all they can say is
There's going to be a safe signal at that point, and if they safe signal when you pick them up, then you stop because you don't want to be an asshole.
In 2024, yes, this is the level of communication that I expect. In 2014, it was more like, hey, you'll like this. Shush.
Oh, you had 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, God. Oh, God. It's all just
You love this.
good. Those people. Those are the other posers. They also show up. They usually like end up standing around the dance floor watching everybody.
They're not all
while.
posers. A lot of them are, but a lot of them are just poorly educated.
And poorly socialized. Yeah, that's been my theory for a long time. Which is, I mean, there's a lot of dudes who come into social dance without any understanding of what the social roles they're being asked to perform or participate in are. And that is scary and uncomfortable, but also part of the magic of having older dancers teach you how to be a gentleman or a lady. Like when it's going well, right? There's a lot of wonderful interpersonal social role dynamics that are translated into and through partner dance, right? It really does create opportunities to normalize gender relations because you have a place where it is explicitly non-sexualized to participate in an expressive activity that is partnered. that's just better for everybody. If we get opportunities where there's social rules around interaction, where we can just see other men or other women and talk to them and actually have a small social interaction that is positive, right? Instead of the pressure of like going up to a stranger and asking them out, right? That's a lot. But you can ask them to a dance, and then you get just like a moment to sample each other, right?
I think that might be part of why I've never been personally drawn to it, because I'm very compelled by dance.
I see that.
I adore dance, but I tend to like hip hop dance.
Pop and lock.
Like all of it. There are
it's so
so many
good.
incredible styles, but also like jazz and contemporary.
Yes, Alvin Ailey.
Like dance really moves me. Like I will break out into tears in good dance performance.
Oh, Rex.
Like
easily. Love. Yes, one of us.
I've never really felt drawn to participate in it because I know my body and it doesn't feel like it would be comfortable and achievable for me to really like pursue it. I have really shitty knees and flat feet and short legs. Like those sorts of movements are not what I'm built for. I'm built for lifting heavy things
And for walking.
and for climbing up mountains.
Which is why vernacular dances, which are advanced. I keep trying to tell you this: advanced walking for drunk people. That's all a vernacular dance is.
It is, I think, very distinctly the genderedness of it that is a big barrier for me, because I'm pretty allergic to genderedness. The thing that I really love
please.
about like hip hop dance, is though sometimes you see women in
Masculine or feminine presentation,
sexualized outfits. It is far more common for B-girls to be wearing baggy pants and a baggy sweatshirt.
Billie Eilish special.
And not performing gender in their performance. And you get that in a lot of the more artistic styles too, although often you get like very gendered, very coupled expressions. But you'll see a modern performance where people aren't dressed as people. They are objects of art performing motion, and
Objects of art performing motion.
And
that
just
darling
gets me. But I don't know. I don't want to engage with that gender binary structure. It's always felt
fabulous,
prickly to me.
Yeah. And it does for a lot of people. And in fact, the new generation of fusion dancers, partner dancers, contact jugglers, people who are exploring lead-follow dynamics without genderizing them. It's really kind of a unique community where like there's a lot of same-sex tango that explores what it is to be a leader or a follower without necessarily attaching those things to masculine or feminine dynamic. And that is the social bifurcation of the generations.
I do have a strong appreciation for tango and also like really acrobatic swing. Because it's just really
so
thrilling.
Fun. International Lindy Hop competition, the worldwide International Lindy Hop competition is still one of the things that it's like the Olympics. I will watch it. I will watch the whole thing. I will watch the hours of competitors going through and doing rounds of, they used to call them Jack and Jills, but now they call them mix and matches because they don't want to genderize, again, these roles. And they're trying to create a bit more separation from the strictly cultural aspects of masculine, feminine, and still dance partnered. Yeah.
It's like partnered breakdance with ribbons in your hair.
I was super
that sounds lovely.
I've always been really into
folklorico,
into jazz, in particular, like the jazz of the first half of the 20th century, like everything up to bop. Love it. And then the swing thing happened in the 90s, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then everybody started adopting the uniform of it, and I'm like,
khakis.
It just killed me. You don't need the cultural trappings of
that's right.
How are you going to dance if you don't have houndstooth on?
Or a cap, right?
You don't need to go buy Brill cream.
This is why you should have come to our Burning Man partner dance space, because we totally fucked with the gender dynamics. That was our favorite, is to have women leaders and male followers and really ask people to explore what it is to be masculine and feminine. what is it about this particular sharpness of movement or fluidity of holding yourself that creates drama and expectation and a silhouette and that is either masculine or feminine, right? Like this is the man pose, right? Always, for almost every culture.
Listeners, she was basically dabbing, but with the head held high.
Correct. Shoulders back, like you've got a goddamn cape on.
Think
chest
like
up,
like Arnie when he was a bodybuilder.
like I'm pulling back a bow, and gazing into the future. It's the masculine pose. That's how men do man. It's recognizable as man, almost as much as hands on hips is recognizable as woman.
It's because when your hips are wider, you have more balance.
Naturally.
And you're more able to follow. It's just, look,
God damn
there is
you.
this philosopher named Jordan Peterson who I have got to
and
turn
his
you on to.
lobsters. Oh, God.
Jordan
room.
E. Peterson?
Clean your room, D-Day. Then you'll find some direction in life. Yeah, the gender essentialism is hilarious to me. It is so clearly a construct that we create and reinforce mostly through our own gender dynamics. Like men reinforce what masculinity is for other men and women reinforce what femininity is for other women. There's a little bit of the dimorphism that just gets reinforced by the other, but largely we self-police what it means to be male or female.
Yep.
What's delightful about this moment of absolute moral panic reaction about the differentiation between sex and gender is now neuroscience is identifying neural networks associated with gender that are only associated and not correlated with biological sex.
And hormonal fluctuation is such an impact as well. Like we make whatever fucking meaning we have in the world. We do it subjectively.
So back to your camp and tell us about the sheriff.
Oh, God. Wes decided that he is such a good old boy. He's such a man's man. He's such a dude that he's going to fight the goddamn police enforcement of Burning Man into our camp and just show them around because he personally feels like he is such a mensch that nothing bad could be going on in his camp that he wouldn't know about. Nobody could be doing drugs. Oh, so that's the other piece is like there's a lot of straight edge folks in the dancer community. It's high in folks who are participating in recovery. It's high in folks who are largely evangelical or religious and don't abide with alcohol or other drugs.
A lot of Mormons in the dance world.
A lot of Mormons. There's so many more. There's especially in Lindy Hop. It's real. And they completely subvert all of their sexuality and all of their rage and all of their passion into their dance. That's right. That's what we all do.
The dance is their soda.
That's right. The dance is their soma. Yeah, that's our stuff.
Did he give you any warning that he was bringing the cops back? Did he go out and fetch them?
He went out and fetched them. Rex, his whole thing was that he wanted stickers from Pershing County Sheriff's Department. He wanted fucking Pershing County stickers, and I still have some.
They'll just give them to you.
I know.
Don't have
you
to
don't
invite
have to
them into
invite
where
them
you
back.
Sounds pretty white.
No. And again, this was that social bifurcation between the wooks of Oregon Country Fair, who really enjoyed their psychedelics and their weed, and the alcoholic dancers. And just another nail in the coffin for distrust and disharmony and the mild hatred that started to be shown toward him by all of the female dancers in camp.
Did y'all dodge a bullet? Were there any consequences to the sheriff coming through?
Just interpersonal inside the camp. Like, I set it up like it was going to be cool, but it wasn't.
Once you let them in, they can keep coming back in like they're vampires.
Oh,
they don't even have to knock the
change
second
the
time.
locks. Oh, man. Yeah, this is why I would always run away to another camp inside of the circle to where I would hide and go smoke a bunch of weed with all of my cool hangout folks. So, yeah, like, dude started this camp with all of the intention of creating several harems of high-quality tango dancers out on the playa for himself, and eventually caused all of the women around him to have an extreme distrust and distaste for him personally that caused our camp to sort of do its initial breakdown. So that's where we lost the military equipment. That's when we started having to, like, scramble a little bit for finances and do a lot more fundraising. And then suddenly there was like, we needed to be more clear on what our finances were actually doing. Because up to that point,
had there been any sort of financial structure to this camp? How had you been managing this?
Oh, man. There were camp fees with we ran it like a dance workshop, right? Early bird registration got X price, sweat equity got X price, purchase X number of weeks out from the event got this price, and purchase like day of was the absolute maximum that we could wring out of you. Just because the expectation was if you were coming in last minute, you weren't going to stick around for strike, and we would probably end up cleaning up after you.
And were you providing meals and such?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a full catering service. We had a cook. We had somebody who we scalped from the French Quarter because he made such amazing beef bourguignon, and was also, he taught polka at Dickens Fair. He was such a unique individual. Christoph was just amazing. Another like Lebanese refugee with a chip on his shoulder, like mad. Computer wunderkind was working for Twitter by the time he was 19 and just had never did anything other than work in high-powered six-figure tech. And all of his hobbies were like sword fighting and Dickens Fair partner dancing of an obscure era, and it's like just weird, rich people, fancy shit. And there's a lot of that sprinkled into Burning Man and Dancer World. So it's lots of high-octane weirdos. It's real fun. But we provided meals. We provided camp setup. Sometimes I feel like we might have been one of the original waves of turnkey camps because we totally let people who we didn't really know that well, except for their dance reputation, just come and use our camp as a way to explore Burning Man, like specifically for our dancer community.
Did they participate?
They did. They all taught at least one class.
That counts.
That counts.
Great. Thanks. I appreciate the seal of approval.
It's a way of being a part of the camp. Like you're a featured guest.
Absolutely. And they would dance with newbies. That was the thing. Like as long as you helped people enjoy a dance, then that was what we needed you to do. That's all we needed you to do. Don't be a dick and help other people have fun.
I think it's perfectly okay to facilitate people's Burning Man experience if they're going to get a real Burning Man experience out of it. Like it's not necessarily about having to struggle to survive, though that's important.
It shouldn't. There's a balance there, because one of my favorite things was that all of these fucking techie bros who had soft baby hands, they would come out and they would come to Burning Man and they would spend their vacations asking me to assign them manual labor. I loved that. It was such a fun, like, retributive. I really liked
Captain Grace, give me blisters.
Go dig a trench, Bubby. I have a power cord. It's 40 feet long. 2 feet down, okay? Love you. Oh, man. Yeah. Me in my mid-20s, I was pretty ridiculous. It's fun to run a camp at 25.
Yeah.
Just wake people up with tits in their face and a promise of coffee, and they'll do most anything for you. Especially when they like want to put your hands on their hips, and it's fun, and then you go do a performance in setter camp, and like everybody talks to you and comes up and tells you what an amazing dancer you are, and then we run off and go build a shade structure. That's my favorite. I loved running that camp. It was so much fun to go build the city. My favorite part of being a camp lead was finding people's particular skill set and what they were really, really, really good at, but didn't quite recognize in themselves and weren't proud of yet, and like helping grow that for them during the week. That's the best part of leadership for me. Yeah, but that was not a sustainable way of doing things. I ran that camp for 6 years because I was engaged to somebody who could afford to like cover rent for me.
How much of your time were you spending on that?
Oh, from December to June, I was probably doing 20 hours a month of either meetings or inventory or just negotiating with new dancers and people that wanted to join the camp and trying to figure out who was who and what they could do. But then June until August was like the suck part. The suck, where everything would go into fundraising and throwing dance parties and traveling between Seattle and San Francisco and attending all of these different events and making connections and trying to convince people they should actually buy a ticket and participate in building the thing before we got out there, and that it would be fun. And that was, more or less successful. Sometimes less. But yeah, like I was putting in 3 weeks out of the month devoted to working on Burning Man camp related activities up until August. And then that's all I did.
So it was a full-time job a quarter of the year.
For a quarter of the year, a full-time fucking job. And then I kept the rest of my time basically free. I worked as an art model and like dance instructor and an artist and painter and sculptor, and like, had a lot of time for art and depression. They go hand in hand, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
So, well, expression is the opposite of depression, is what my favorite therapist taught me. But so 3/4 of the year, I kept free and available, except for the dance venues that I was running in town, right? Those were not strictly Burning Man related. That was just my weekly that I ran for several years. And had a large community of volunteers that stepped in on the regular. So it wasn't a ton of work, but it was enough to like make it so I didn't need to get a different job. So mostly I developed my Burning Man resume for about 10 years. And once my personal relationship where I had a supportive partner, kind of dancing ruins relationships. He didn't dance. We couldn't stay together. It was sad.
It's like that, huh?
That.
So there you are.
So
this guy's a dick.
Oh, that guy's a dick. That guy left. And then we had to figure out camp funding on our own and camp structure on our own. And then there was a power vacuum because I couldn't devote my life to Burning Man year round anymore. I had to get a real job and like start paying rent and shit. And so I was looking for somebody to transition camp leadership to. Herding cats throughout the year. That is the experience of trying to keep a Burning Man camp together for most people. Yeah?
That is the experience of doing almost anything involving Burning Man.
Right.
Volunteerism, man. That's how volunteer management do.
Even all of the official labor that Burning Man does is all volunteer labor. So it's all cat herding.
That's right. So power transitions. What do you do when your leadership wants to go and fucking do something else for their vacation?
You dissolve your camp because you don't know how to run your camp.
You admonish them for not having planned ahead 2 years prior.
SOPs. I should have been writing those SOPs for succession. Damn it.
Always have somebody ready to step up into your role, whatever it is you're doing.
The bus test, right? And that was the terrible thing. Like, I thought that he was going to pass. Oh, man. So yeah, another one in this line of kind of oppressive, misogynistic, poser dudes who finds partner dance, finds it very compelling because he can kind of Andrew Tate his way through the dance floor, being 6'4" and kind of built. And
Hair thinning or bald all the way?
No, full thick head of hair at 42.
The Andrew Tate comparison's a little unfair.
Well, okay. You're right. He looked more like you.
Think of a long Joe Rogan. Oh, wait, no, he's bald too.
Ew. Oh, but this was another guy who was into UFC and surfing and wore a kilt and liked to crack whips and just like an obnoxiously man's man.
Look, cool stuff can be misogynistic too.
I know. That's the problem. That's how you get confused.
Yeah, I have several kilts and I enjoy watching
you're not
UFC, but I never pay for it. Not getting a dime out of me.
So I was running camp, and then things went south, and herding cats became difficult because other people had real jobs. For some reason, they only did Burning Man for like a month out of the year. Who does that?
Square
Casuals.
Fucking normies.
Bridge and tunnel burners, if I may be so bold.
Well, and we kind of cultivated a community of Burning Man dabblers who were available, some for the burn, but mostly they were very serious dancers and or computer programmers working for Google.
Yeah, I guess that is the downside of providing this opportunity, that model where you can just show up and do the burn.
That's right.
You don't cultivate people who can really do the burn.
Who really understand what it's like to make a community work long term with people that don't just disappear and change out every 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to amend what I said. It's absolutely appropriate to provide those sorts of opportunities for some people, but it needs to be extremely limited.
Yes.
Like a camp, if you've got a camp, maybe invite 1 or 2 people in who aren't pulling their weight.
At maximum for a camp of say 20 to 30 regulars. You should have at least 15 solid folks for every freeloader.
You got to be able to fully model good burner behavior. And if you've got a bunch of new folks who are getting the cush treatment, they're modeling bad burner behavior to each other.
That's right. And we had such a high quotient of Burning Man virgins every year that it was we had maybe
25% is too many.
Correct.
That was my worst year of running a camp. We had 25 people in our camp and 7 of them had never been there before.
And they were all crying by Wednesday. And
no, they were French. They just fucked off and were hot and didn't help.
Ooh, smoking cigarettes from the sidelines. Hot.
Well, it was the early 2000s. We were all still smoking cigarettes.
But part-time Burning Man culture led to just a complete transition where the 3 people who could consistently show up to build and could consistently show up between large Burning Man events to plan things were not available. And
so it was just you.
Not quite. There was Jimmy was there every year, and Ted would fuck off whenever he felt like it, frankly, and find a new harem of pretty girls to bounce with. But when he was there and worked, he was on top of it and great. Girl Scout, oh man, another human being who just would get so upset and flustered that she became kind of useless. Again, the nature of dramatic dancer expressive folks is that they can work themselves into a tizzy without actually getting anything done and just waste all of the community resources thereby before anything happens. And it was just a lot of infighting and people getting sad and flustered. If I or Ted were not holding down the emotional tone of the space, then it shattered. And so Ted was really the glue that held the whole thing together for the longest time. And then came Sam. Sam, who named himself with his own playa name, I shit you not, El Sensei.
No. Oh my God. Oh, that's
his second year.
That is not just a red flag. That's a red Christo installation.
Parade.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I am Los teacher.
Learn from my excellence. I know nothing about what you're doing here.
Okay, hold on. Was Sam Latino?
Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Yep.
That counts.
Okay,
Yep.
That counts.
That makes it slightly less cringy.
It doesn't.
I said slightly.
But his family had a goddamn citrus grove in Coronado, San Diego. So strong Republican military vibe there as well.
A conservative sensei?
Oh, God. Well, he thought of himself as progressive. That was the fabulous weirdness.
Yeah.
It's
And he
found
thought of
the
himself
fusion
as
dance
middle
scene.
class too, I bet.
He did. That's right. And he had an investment portfolio in Puerto Rico, an investment property or 2 in San Juan. Motherfucker. Oh, I hate that guy.
I'm going to
so
say
much. Oh, I hate that guy so
everyone
much,
has
guys.
to have one house before people can start owning 2 houses.
And he was such a charismatic narcissist that this is the part that makes me mad at myself is that I ignored the parade. I was too tired.
You should not hold yourself at fault. Charismatic narcissism is insipid.
It's
you have to be
winning.
so on your guard to catch it.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's always obvious once
Once you're out of it.
discovered them. but
Precisely.
in the moment, it just feels like a charming person. How you can't just like.
I was so special and interesting and worth their time.
And trustworthy. Why didn't you trust me? I was so trustworthy. It's your fault for not trusting me. Yeah.
Disloyal.
So this man, like, made himself available because he was independently wealthy and he could, like, run shit and, like, come and do build week and do planning time. And it felt at the time like a godsend. Like this individual was a strong man who could like be there to handle things and make sure that everyone was taken care of.
But he was 90% belt buckle.
Oh, for fucking real, dude. Belt buckle and like teeth on his leather cowboy hat. Yeah.
People teeth?
No, not like the tooth fairy.
Jesus
I
Christ.
met her at summer camp. Oh, she's like a veterinarian, I think. Yeah.
Like rattlesnake teeth, probably.
Some
I don't know.
sort
I got a bag of teeth to bring to our listener appreciation party next year, like I promised.
D-Day.
I promised.
Who's what? Oh, I don't.
It's none of your
I don't need to know. That's right. That's
You
right.
get-
We live in the Bay Area. You can get teeth.
You can get anything on Etsy.
Yeah,
You
you want
can
some
get
teeth?
whatever you
I can
need.
get your teeth in 90
The
minutes.
best teeth you've ever seen.
I didn't say that.
They're made of resin. It's fine. I hope. Anyhow, but yeah, strong man, narcissist, amazing dancer. Oh my fucking God. Asshole. But yeah, he decided to come in and take over for me while I was trying to figure out how to have a life that wasn't Burning Man centric, and ended up turning our payment structure into something that was going directly into his personal PayPal account. And amazingly, he was doing personal pricing for every individual.
That sounds like a gambling addiction.
It did seem a bit odd in retrospect. We only found this out like 2 years after that, when we had a forensic accountant go through and like try to piece together what was going on. Ted came back out of retirement and like negotiated with Sam over our equipment and shit that he was refusing to release, even after he had been found to have embezzled like $20,000 worth of camp fees and camp dues. I have no idea how he got 20,000. Like our maximum that we had was like 14,000 at any given point before we made all of our purchases for the year, right? Before we paid for our storage, before we did all the replacements. Like,
So he was soaking.
he was.
It just sounds like Captain Grace wasn't thinking about turning a profit when she was doing it. I mean, it's not wild. It's an extra $6,000 or so, maybe 10 grand. But he was like working.
But he worked it. And
Imagine how motivated you would be if you were embezzling.
I could have
like
been such a
two
better
stacks,
camp
Rex.
leader.
2 whole stacks.
10 fucking grand, man. I could have walked away with that and been.
I've never
much
jerked
more
off into a
stable-
pile of 10 grand in my whole life.
You should
and he
do
had
that.
2 of them.
Well,
Try.
D-Day, it's maybe time to revisit the.
You should make your own.
Yeah,
camp.
y'all
Yeah, kitchen
should
fees.
be following
Cockroach.
my Instagram. That's where you get the link to my OnlyFans. And that's where I make the money for those stacks.
Oh, guys, you don't want to. It's all feet.
Kitchen.
It's not all feet.
It's
Kitchen. I was
it's
thinking,
never not
buttholes
feet.
I was
and
thinking
feet.
bedtime stories and buttholes.
It's never
Yeah,
not
we're
feet.
both halfway there.
Yeah, Sam swindled our entire community.
How long was Sam involved?
Sam was involved for 2 years. He came in dating one of our most prominent dancers, our Lindy Hop ballet. Oh my God, her ass defied gravity for 20 years. It still defies gravity. Amazing figure on this woman, and her ability to lyrically interpret music, amazeballs, and teach as well. Like another international level instructor. But she was dating this guy, and we had no idea where he had come from, other than he was now suddenly in the fusion scene and suddenly dating Girl Scout. And the cult of personality persisted, right? He was graced in because he was screwing one of our favorites. And that's how the misogyny gets in. This is how we get ants. You let one misogynist fuck you. You just, God damn it. God damn it, Girl Scout. Yeah.
So he swooped in and showed all this this competence.
All this competence, all this ability to commit his time and his energy, which oh God, in that flighty part-time burner expectation that we had built was just wonderful. It felt like somebody scooping me up and like partnering me perfectly to take over and learn everything that I had to teach and impart.
He took the lead.
He did. And I followed. And then he turned it into a business, which completely blew me a fucking way. In his second year in the burn, in his second year in the dance community, he has now been oh God, he might be hanging out with Boutique at this point. Because like he was in Portland for a while and we were always neighbors with Boutique. Oh my God, they loved us so much. We would do a personal dance lesson for any of our neighbors who wanted to come in. We would do personal lessons for any of the camp leads or any of the infrastructure folks that wanted to come learn. And Boutique always took us up on that. And they always loved dressing us because we were ridiculous. And the pretty fit, flexible, lean, expressive bodies of dancers can make any outfit look amazing. And so they would dress us in like all of the designer labels shit that they would find from all over wherever the hell they find their stuff. If you don't know the Boutique, let them dress you. Please go find them, seek them out, Black Rock City Boutique, and they will set you up. Painfully stylish. So I think Sam ended up with them. But for 2 years, we kicked him out of the dance scene. And again, another one of these assholes that eventually nobody will dance with. Because it comes out eventually that you're trash.
How did you discover that he was embezzling?
So that piece actually was interesting because I had been trying to focus on my own shit. And so 2015 was my worst burn. Still, till this day, even though last year I got COVID and spent the whole time in fucking Reno watching cartoons.
That was last year, wasn't it?
That did happen.
God damn, that sucked.
I know.
That
I missed
sucks.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't.
Well, I
get to
missed
go on
you
an
too,
art walk.
but you weren't there, and I had to do
be
other
missed.
shit.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
we did
no, you
stuff.
had COVID. That sucked.
Yeah. I did setup and I got COVID.
All the work.
Well,
none of the
thank you
payoff.
for leaving. Not everyone did.
You're welcome. I love you guys. I don't want anyone to get sick. And we have so many intergenerational members. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
2015, you were struggling.
fuck up year. Like I was breaking up with my partner. I didn't have a place to live. I was relying on camp mostly to float me while I was driving between Seattle, Eugene, and San Francisco back and forth and living with all of my campers. This was in my personal unhoused gypsy. I hate the word gypsy. What's a better word?
Itinerant.
Nomadic dancer stage where I was just sleeping on people's couches and in their guest rooms. And that was my life for that whole section of the summer. And then my best friend, who had always wanted to come to Burning Man, who was an event planner out in Seattle, who was a professional event planner, who had worked for Prince on tour.
Cool.
She was cool. She was super cool. And she hit playa, and I think the word is decompensated.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the word.
Like
Unfortunate, but
the lack of control that she was faced with upon arrival was just...
there's some psych meds you want to wean yourself off of so the E will hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she couldn't do that. So she couldn't do any psychedelics and was afraid of them. And
That sucks.
It's fine. Burning Man's a
It would-
perfectly lovely
it
place
should
to be
have been
sober.
fine. And that was part of the draw of our camp was like that we allowed for some sober camping. Like, or at least you could pretend and personally be sober without it being thrown in your face at all times. But
That's why I'm always explicit when I'm going out in a group, whether or not this thing is a bar crawl.
wise choice. Yeah, because an art walk is just as fun. But if you're expecting a bar crawl, then you want to do a bar crawl.
If you're expecting a bar crawl, nary a bar will you find.
That is the way. Whatever you were prepared for does not happen.
Sucks.
Yeah. So
I'm like, I don't need my flask. I brought my cup. And 3 hours later, I'm just like, all
Damn it.
they had was high C and vodka.
or aerosolized vodka.
Well,
in the balloon.
I mean, I don't know if what bomb was that?
Lip balm.
Yeah, I don't know if lip balm is still around, but if they are, oh my god, please let us know where you are.
Please, you
I
the
just
worst
Gabber
bar.
vodka gas.
I want to give you an award. Greased stripper poles, and aerosolized vodka, and 2 types of gabber playing on 2 separate competing stereo systems. I will never forget.
Something else.
Never. Yeah. But so I was starting to actually embrace burner culture a bit more at that point. I was getting kind of tired of hand-holding dancers that didn't want to experience more.
Type 2 fun.
Yeah, that's it. Type 2 and type 3 fun. I was hanging out with DPW. That was my problem.
What are these types of fun?
Oh, this is a mountaineering thing. So type 1 fun is the type of fun that you know is fun while you're doing it. Mm-hmm. You find it pleasurable. You're able to take in that it is good.
Right.
You are having birthday cake at a party where people love you and are appreciating you.
And type 2 fun is getting stories.
Type 2 fun is the type of fun that you, in retrospect, enjoy.
That's the story.
Gotcha. That's right. Where it's not so, it's like got blisters and sweat. And
it's not fun in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily
you have to
fun.
cultivate
At any
an
given
appreciation of that type of fun. These are all acquired tastes.
Yep.
And then type 3 fun is the type of fun that you convince yourself is fun.
Spite fun.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
What an intuitive grasp. Well done.
It's when you put the nails in your own wrist.
I'm doing this because I like this. This is the best that I will ever do. I'm finishing it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll go along with whatever the group decides.
Oh, God. I'm just here to participate.
Well, this
guys.
wasn't my idea.
Looking at you, all my ultra marathoners.
Oh, wow. Yeah, type 3 fun, for real. But yeah, so I was ready to have a more direct experience of my personal rage and like Thunderdome time and DPW time. And the nice dancers were busy being sexy and cute and obnoxiously underprepared to engage with more difficult topics like my whole personal life. So, and I was feeling honestly really used by them at that point. Like, I had been running camp for 6 years and people didn't remember my birthday. Nobody was like checking on me while my relationship was falling apart. And I was obviously struggling to maintain meeting notes and emails. Was like the earliest way of me indicating that I am regularly disassociating and not really available for coherent thought or transmission of data. And nobody cared. And I got mad about it. So, okay, maybe edit this out, but I let Sam take over that camp.
Actionable.
I did notice the red flags. I did not like him dating my friend. And I was pissed that nobody else was stepping up to do things and maintain this group activity that everybody said they loved so much and they were so committed to participating in for a week or throwing money down for, but not actually getting dirty or getting a hand blister or doing it wrong.
Carry no guilt for handing off a thing you didn't want to do to someone who did want to do it, regardless of what you may have intuited.
Yeah, it's not like you're managing a camp full of children. In fact, it sounds like there shouldn't be children there. And some adults get what some adults fucking get for refusing to put the time and the attention in for stuff like that. Like, it sucks. I'm not saying that your camp lead should embezzle money from you, but if you're fucking freeloading, those are the dice you're rolling.
They weren't checking in. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that because. Man, I did feel responsible, and I was so mad.
Fuck those partner dancing motherfuckers.
If you didn't get a cut You are in no way responsible for the embezzlement.
If she had even thought of taking a cut.
No,
that's
they were
the problem.
They were mad at me for spending $900 on like my insurance and hotels and shit. And that was one of the reasons why they were like, maybe you shouldn't be leading camp anymore.
Maybe we'll vote for Donald Trump. Because Joe Biden kind of sucks.
This lady, I don't feel like we can really trust her anymore. She's not really, like leadership material.
Who even is she? I heard she became black.
Oh my God. I think she just chose to be black. That's weird. Did she just choose to be poor?
That's what I heard. I'm not saying that she did. But I feel like I could do it.
Good job, Dan. So the accountant that I had hired, because I was actually trying to do some transition planning ahead of time, in 2014, I did connect us with a dancer who was also an accountant. Everyone we know who does anything professionally, we only know because they are partner dancers.
He swung that bottom line.
It's an amazing way to like move through the world is through your connections from the dance floor. You meet lawyers, you meet doctors, you meet accountants, you meet like occasionally cool artists and construction workers and party planners.
And some narcissists.
A bunch of fucking narcissists. Yeah. Pretty people though. But yeah, so I hired an accountant and he was not a burner. Was very oddly as an accountant, he was very straight-laced and law-abiding and was very uncomfortable with the accounting irregularities that I had inherited and also perpetuated from like fucking Wes and Ted of our hookers and blow fund. That was a line item on our budget. It was great. It was great. We always ended up with like T-bone steaks and hot tubs and champagne on the way back from Burning Man and Tahoe. We would like stop at whatever hot springs we could find and just glamp it the fuck up. And that was our reward to ourselves as the camp leads. It's like we finished the thing. It's time
You did
to party.
the work.
We did.
Leftover funds are bonuses.
They will be used. That's correct. For the good of camp, and morale is very important. but so that was a little off-putting to Ram. And so he, as an outsider to the burner community and to the like morally gray among us, myself included, he wanted to be able to track every penny. And I was not able to turn in receipts for those things until later. And so that kind of put me on the back foot with a couple of the new social leaders of camp, right? People who were starting to step in. There was a transition year where Sam was officially in charge. 2014 was my last year running things. And then 2015, Sam was my co-lead. And it was supposed to be the transition year. And then in 2016, that was when it came out that he had embezzled a shit ton of money. But at that point, I was happily working at Center Camp and was no longer involved in the dance scene. And so I heard that through the grapevine and had a moment of extraordinary validation. Yeah, that came out in 2016 after another successful burn. This is the first year with the name change.
The name is now
Partner Dance Adventures, right? It's the PDA. God, they're so smarmy and smart. It's just, it hurts. But we were the tubers with Tango to Up in Blues, and so I have no room whatsoever to talk. TUIB, tubers. Our symbols were rutabagas. So niche, so gross, so dumb. But dancing rutabagas, that was a thing. On a patch somewhere in somebody's hard drive. But I gave the camp to Sam and said, God bless. And then the next year, it had been $20,000 in the hole, and he was gone to Puerto Rico.
Did he just take the whole operating fund?
He took the whole operating fund.
Oof.
All the leftovers. All of the money that people had put in over the last 2 years, and the storage fees.
Oh, man.
It was wild. He had taken everything out of the publicly disclosed accounts and storage units and brought it all to his own personal property down in San Diego. Like, was doing everything in-house. Like, he'd vertically restructured the camp. So that it was no longer a group dynamic at all, but it all rested on his personal, financial, and real estate wealth. Yeah. Gross.
And I assume the camp managed to recoup some of that because they're still around.
Well, and so that also speaks to the well-to-do nature of the general population of campers, is that $20,000 did not destroy the camp. The next year, well, that's the other thing. There's like, we rebuilt camp almost from the ground up, almost every year. Our biggest expenditure was our floor, right? Because
you were buying a new floor every year?
It was terrible. Every year, something bad would happen to the floor. Some sort of thing would be fucked up with the varnish. It would get left on top of some other piece of wood railing, and then suddenly everything is warped after a year in storage. Every year, there was some problem with humidity, so that we would end up needing to repurchase 1,200 square feet worth of sprung plywood, varnished, painted, hard, soft wood floor every year. It was a luxurious, excessive expense. And because it was Burning Man, it was worth it, right? We were going to bring our best, and we were just going to suck it up and swallow it and get more donations and get somebody else from the community who cares to pitch in and buy in. And we're going to build a new fucking floor every year.
And that was Captain Grace. Beth, do you have any stories of complete Burning Man camp societal collapse?
Holy shit, I feel like I need to have listened to this episode. I do think that partner dancing is likely to cause trauma.
So actually, you don't need to have listened to this episode.
I think it's in the ways that trauma is caused that trauma is interesting. Who wants to hear about some tears? I want to hear about some very specific tears.
Did Captain Grace talk at all about Alex?
No.
So, can I tell you this little story that I fucking love?
Yes.
About Captain Grace. I brought a friend of mine to Burning Man who had only ever worked live events with. He was an audio engineer. And I talked him into coming. And I gave him a substance he'd never had before. And then lost him immediately. It was something that I felt very guilty about for the rest of the evening. When I found him later, he had a transformative experience. And a big part of that was Grace took him to Tangoed Up in Blue, and they had been doing partner dancing together. It was just like I had accidentally given someone I loved and cared about a substance that changes their perception for the first time. And then I lost him entirely, which is not at all what I would prefer to do if I was being a good friend around substances. And when I ran into them all later, they'd had this magical experience. And a huge part of it for Alex was this partner dancing with Captain Grace.
I remember that night.
Yeah.
He was glowing.
That was it. I was so worried I had just fucked over my friend so hardcore, and then I ran into him and he was glowing.
You can't fuck over your friends more than they can fuck over themselves.
Not unless I try.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't.
Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third.
The music in this episode is almost certainly by Late Bus.
Late
Thank
Bus.
you, Late Bus.
Thank you, Late Bus. Find out which Late Bus track we're using down in the notes.
If you would like to share some of your music with us to use in these episodes, because we don't want to wear out all the late buses talent, but we will, get a hold of us at accuracy3rd@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, no numbers. Also, use that email to tell us that you would like to be on Accuracy Third. Tell us about your experience at Burning Man, at a regional, in the Burning Man community. We want to hear it, and so do our listeners, which is you.
Which is you, like you should email us and come on the show and tell us your stories.
Which is you. You are the listeners. I took that in a circle.
Come on the fucking podcast. God damn it. If you're listening to us and haven't come on the podcast, stop it. Stop it.
There's no better time to become our friends than right now.
Aww.
Right now, reach out to us. Burning Man icons in your life. And in this community, truly paragons of community mindedness and intent. And we are on social media, and you should visit us there.
Only 2 social medias.
Find us in the Discord, where we're having chats with our podcast pals. And we're also on Blue Sky, where sometimes we're posting, but mostly I just lurk.
I got in my first Twitter fight on Blue Sky. It was charming.
Yeah, I got that out of the way like second week.
Come to Discord.
We'll be there.
We have a very dear friend who manipulated all of us into being on Discord.
And he was right. More right than Zeno ever was about Mastodon. Mastodon. Boy, you sure want me to do a lot of work, Mastodon.
I'm just saying, let's remember Front Tug and his entire creation of our Discord.
I can't forget Front Tug. He's there in the Discord with us. He's mixing it up.
I was realizing that with the Discord, I could share more of the shit that I liked with people. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is actually kind of nice. It took me several years, sorry, Front Tug, to realize why this might be a nice way of communicating with people.
Mm-hmm. And if you want an old Tool live album, that's uploaded on our Discord. You can also download Salival and save yourself like $200 trying to get a copy on eBay. It's all right.
Yeah, the music channel on that Discord is pretty active.
Yeah.
I'm never in it because I don't really like listen to music like that. So.
Some of it's great.
I'm sure it is.
I don't trust anyone's musical taste. Anyone's.
You can find merch on burnernarc.com. If you want me to design things for you, I will. If you want to design things for me, I don't think I need you to, but let's talk.
D-Day, it will be your design, bitch. For fun and profit.
For profit.
God, I hope they've figured out how to store a floor.
God,
I've looked into floors.
Mm-hmm. A lot of money.
Expensive.
A lot of money and labor.
But they make outdoor dance
subfloor. They do, but they're terrible. The ones that they have for weddings and like nobody who has leather dance shoes wants to dance on that sticky bullshit.
I see.
It's got seams. It's gross. It catches your feet. It doesn't feel good on your knees. We built a sprung dance floor. If you do know what that means, a sprung floor?
I do. I was looking
excellent.
into purchasing one for Center Camp.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah. Okay. So it's really easy on your joints. Mm-hmm. They move with you. It extends your ability to dance by several hours for each engagement. And these dancers are the type of people who, even without drugs, will spend 8 hours just dancing. No problem. Go all night? Oh, okay. Yeah. There are new partners? No? Okay. No, this is fine. I love dancing. Dancing is my obsession. That's all we did. 24/7, somebody would be willing to drum up a group of people to go out and dance and take over a corner somewhere and like put out our dance floors and get people interested. The level of passion and commitment in the dancer community is unimpeachable.
It's like a cult within a cult.
I know. Our subcultures are so culty. Yeah, the cult of dance inside of the cult of Burning Man is a special Venn diagram of high-octane weirdos. And they are some of my favorite people.
Thanks for sharing the story.
Thanks, Rex. I'm delighted and love the oral history of Black Rock City.
Now you're part of it.
Yee. Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy.